the staff in the center of the belief system.
But yes, I mean, to go back to the main point, yes, the main response that I hear is people who say things like, I don't like war.
Yeah. Now, your book ends, and we should wrap with this because we're coming near the end. Like, your book ends, I guess, on a quasi-theological note, right? It seems to me that the underlying conclusion that you drew, having admitted to the existence of evil, let's say, in a theological sense, at least technically, right? Because it's a language that expresses that landscape. It's at least that.
Yes.
And it is a pointer to the opposite, right? That's the thing. To say it again about contending with evil is once you admit to its existence, especially in its lowest forms, you're forced to grapple with the fact that the opposite exists. And then that points you towards heaven, so to speak. Now, you structured your book so that your conclusion, which is actually somewhat optimistic, is that despite being faced down by a death cult that outnumbers them geometrically, the Israelis are still there.
Yes.
And they're thriving.
Yes.
And there are forces within the Islamic world that have recognized that and that are doing their best to, what? Not even so much reconcile themselves to that fact, but perhaps even to welcome it.
Yes.
And that's held after October 7th, which was a complete bloody miracle. That was the Abraham Accords. And that's what I want to talk to you on the Daily Wire side, because I would like to talk to you. We didn't get into the issue of Islam versus Christianity and exactly how that might be conceptualized and mediated, but I'd like to do that on the Daily Wire side for all of you who are watching and listening. That worship of life, right? It's the axiomatic presupposition that it's no different than the presupposition, I think, that people are made in the image of God. It's just different language, and that points to what? That points to a transcendent good that's encapsulated in the Jewish scriptures and in Christianity as God.
Yes.
God's the spirit that demands that life be valued above all, above all.
Yes.
Not above God, perhaps, but
yes.
And that's more like a definition, you know.
Yes.
And then the question is, and I thought about this for a long time. Well, what if you abandon your belief in the goodness of life? Job refuses to do that. The antinatalists abandon their belief in the goodness of life. Yes. The cascading consequences of that are genocidal. That's where it ends, always.
Yes.
And that's what's happening.
But the opportunity to see the opposite of that.
Yeah.
To see the opposite of the antinatalism, for instance.
Yeah. Israel has the only positive birth rate in the Western world.
And not just among the religious, among the secular as well, which is blowing the minds of a lot of demographers.
As it should. As it should.
We thought this was only...
As it should.
You'll notice that your most secular Tel Avivians will be having more children than themselves. They're more than 2 children a couple on average per relatively
The Israelis have pulled that off, and the Hungarians haven't even been able to manage it, even though they're trying very hard.
Yes, but that points to one of the central things in it. You probably can't fake that stuff up. The Hungarians, for instance, and I think the Poles, when they wanted to encourage people to have more children. It's economically.
Yeah.
If you have a 4th child, you will pay no income tax on the 10th year of this. Maybe people don't structure their lives like that. Why is it that...
So there's an anti-Marxist thing to say.
But how about if... I mean, look at the difference between a Hungarian couple who are working out the tax break advantages of having a 4th child, but deciding not to have a 2nd child, versus an Israeli family in a war zone still creating life. Right? That's not a tax incentive thing.
No.
That is at a far, far deeper level.
Right.
And it is to do with a commandment. It is to do with a commandment. And, you know, I would just add one other thing to that, which is I was talking the other day with a friend, a biblical scholar. He said, you know that that famous quote on the walls of the UN, the quote from Isaiah, and he shall judge among the nations, and he shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. Now that's magnificent sentiment, of course, and who wouldn't want to follow it? But the thing that I just realized is, look at what comes before it. Let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
Right? That's called a precondition, Douglas.
You don't get the idea of war being no more, or peace breaking out among nations, unless the word goes out from Jerusalem. You can have one, but you can't have it without the other.
That's right. Yeah. All right, sir. For those of you who are going to follow us over to the Daily Wire side, I'm going to talk to Douglas with equal seriousness about the interplay between religious fundamentalism and psychopathy, with particular attention to the Islamic world. Why? Because there are signs of hope for a rapprochement between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.